Shalom, as everyone doing? Today's day 30 of the Kitzur Shulchan. We'll be learning Siman Seif Vav. Okay, let's begin. B'chol pam shenifna o shematal mayim. Every time a person goes either gedolim or ketanim, afilu rak tipa achas, even one drop. Yerchotz acher kach yerav b'mayim. Obviously, he has to wash his hands because his hands are unclean afterwards. Vivarich birchas asher yatzar, and makes the bracha of asher yatzar. If one uses the bathroom, and he forgets to say asher yatzar, and then he goes to the bathroom again, and he remembers he didn't say asher yatzar the first time, he only has to make asher yatzar once. Somebody who takes a laxative, and he knows he's going to have to use the bathroom many times, he only makes asher yatzar when he's finished. Okay, so obviously the Kitzur is referring to the halacha of saying asher yatzar after one uses the bathroom. This is a Gemara Mefarashes in Maseches Brachos Daf Samech. It says whenever you go to the bathroom, you make a bracha of asher yatzar. But when it comes to asher yatzar, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of bracha is it? Let me explain. That throughout a person's day, he makes basically three different types of brachos. He makes something called the birchas mitzvah. Right, a bracha you do before you do a mitzvah, right? Like before you put on tefillin, you make a bracha. That's a bracha on a mitzvah. Number two is something called the birchas hane'nin. A bracha, it's a bracha I make both, either before or after I get benefit. Right, for example, when I eat food, and I get the benefit of eating food, right? I make a bracha before, I make a bracha after. Those are birchas hane'nin. And then we have a third category where we make a bracha on different events. Even if there's no hana involved. For example, there's a halacha that if one looks at lightning and he sees lightning, there's a halacha that one has to make a bracha, right? Osamas berishis. So those are the three categories. It's birchas mitzvah, birchas hane'nin, birchas hashevach. The question is, what category does the bracha of asher yatzar fall under? So let's go through the list. Does it fall under a birchas mitzvah? Obviously no. You don't say like asher kishem mitzvah, right? Not a birchas mitzvah. So is it a birchas hane'nin, right? Because we get hana when we go to the bathroom, right? There is some sort of benefit there, or maybe it's a birchas hashevach, and we're just praising Hashem for the fact that we went to the bathroom. So which one is it? So it's not so clear. I'll say two options. Either it's a birchas hashevach. Why do I think it's a birchas hashevach more than a birchas hane'nin? Because there's a Ramban in Maseches Brachos. The Ramban in Maseches Brachos has a question. He says, when do we say birchas hane'nin, when do we not? For example, when we eat food, we say birchas hane'nin. When we smell something, also, we say birchas hane'nin. But we don't say birchas hane'nin every single benefit in our lives, right? If somebody washes himself, right, he takes a shower, he anoints himself with oil, right? Those are benefits. Those benefit a person, and yet he does not say a birchas hane'nin on those things. So the Ramban says we have a yesod. What's the yesod? What's the klal? The rule is that you only say a birchas hane'nin on something that enters the body. Right? Food enters the body. A nice smell goes through your nose, enters the body. As opposed to washing yourself or anointing yourself, that stays in the outside of the body. So that's why it might seem from there that asher yatzar actually should not fall under the category of a birchas hane'nin. Because when somebody goes to the bathroom, nothing enters his body. Things come out of his body. So maybe it actually would be a birchas hashevach, not a birchas hane'nin. However, you could reject that and say, no, what does the Ramban mean that you only say a bracha on something that enters your body? It means you say a bracha on something that deals with the insides of your body, right? And going to the bathroom obviously deals with the inside, even though nothing physically goes in, but that's not so important. So maybe it actually still could be a birchas hane'nin. Okay, is there any proof that it's a birchas hane'nin? Is there any proof? So one proof might be from the fact that usually when it comes to birchas hashevach, for example, let's say the case of lightning. Let's say you see lightning. How long do you have to say from when you see the lightning and saying the bracha? So the halacha actually is you have to say it within toch kidei dibur, which we assume is 3 seconds, right? So if you see the lightning and you wait more than 3 seconds, you lost your ability to say the bracha. And when it comes to asher yatzar, let's take it to asher yatzar. Is there any halacha that you have to say asher yatzar within toch kidei dibur of going to the bathroom? Right? Is that really the halacha? You go to the bathroom and you have to say asher yatzar within 3 seconds? That can't be, right? You'd have no time to wash your hands or anything. So it seems like it can't really fit in the category of birchas hashevach. Because Birchas HaShevach you have to say literally immediately, and if you don't, you lose out the bracha. However, we could also reject this proof that it's a Birchas Hanenin, because if you look in the Pri Megadim says is that even though usually we have a rule by Birchas HaShevach has to be done b'toch de dibur of the occurrence, maybe Asher Yotzer could still be a Birchas HaShevach, but since it's impossible for one to make the bracha within that amount of time, therefore we have more leeway by Asher Yotzer. But that it's not such a proof that it takes it out of the realm of a Birchas HaShevach. Okay, so it's still unclear. Is it a Birchas Hanenin? Is it a Birchas HaShevach? I would like to suggest that this is a machlokes between the Mechaber and the Bach. Why? What does the Mechaber say? The Mechaber in Siman Zayin Sif Gimel says as follows. He brings down a case, somebody goes to the bathroom. Goes to the bathroom, forgets to say Asher Yatzar. Goes to the bathroom again. What's the halacha? What does the Mechaber say? The Mechaber says, very simple, you say Asher Yatzar twice. You say Asher Yatzar twice, right? One for the time you forgot to say Asher Yatzar after, and one for this time. And if you look at the Beis Yosef, he compares this to davening, right? There's a halacha. Let's say you don't daven mincha. Okay, you don't daven mincha, you miss mincha. If you forget to daven mincha, you daven 2 ma'arivs, right? Because we have an idea called tashlumin. If you miss something, you could just rectify the next ability you have. So same thing here. You were supposed to say Asher Yatzar after you went to the bathroom. You didn't. You can rectify it by saying 2 Asher Yatzars now. The Bach says he doesn't know what the Shulchan Aruch is talking about. He doesn't know what the Mechaber is talking about. The Bach says that don't talk about tashlumin in this context, right? When do we have tashlumin? We have tashlumin by davening. Why do we have tashlumin by davening? Since davening is compared to bringing karbanos. Okay, so you miss bringing the karbanos, the karban at that point. You just bring it later. That's something that works by karbanos. But what should we compare Asher Yatzar to? He says we should compare it to a case of benching. Well, what's the halacha by benching? So there's a halacha that, let's say somebody is eating like a bread meal, right? So obviously he has to bench. He's eating bread meal, whatever, and he has in mind like, okay, I'm done with my meal. I'm not eating anymore. So what are you supposed to do now? You're supposed to bench. But let's say he doesn't. Rather, what does he do? He eats more food. He eats like another meal instead of benching. So now it comes time to bench. So what's the halacha? What's the halacha? Is the halacha that he has to say 2 benchings now because he's just had 2 distinct meals? Or maybe he could say 1 Birchas Hamazon and that will cover both meals. So the Bach says, if you look, Siman Kuf Ayin Ches in Orach Chaim, it's very clear that you just have to make 1 Birchas Hamazon. 1 Birchas Hamazon, and that covers both meals. We'll explain why that's the halacha, but that is the halacha. Therefore, he says we should compare Asher Yatzar to that, right? You went to the bathroom twice, 2 distinct times of going to the bathroom, but still, just like you would only bench once if it's 2 distinct meals, so too you only say Asher Yatzar once, even though it was 2 distinct times of going to the bathroom. However, if you look in the Taz defends the Mechaber. What does the Taz say? The Taz says, don't bring up Birchas Hamazon here. Birchas Hamazon has nothing to do with Asher Yatzar. And he says, what's the svar by Birchas Hamazon? He quotes the Rosh, Mesech Chulin, Parak Vav. The Rosh says as follows. What is Birchas Hamazon? Birchas Hamazon, we're giving Hoda'at HaKadosh Baruch Hu on our Hana, right? We ate a meal, we got benefit, so we thank Hashem for that benefit. Right, Birchas Hanenin, obviously. V'sagi b'hoda achas al shtei achilos. And when it comes to thanking Hashem for benefit, you could just thank Hashem once, right? I got 2 distinct benefits, right? It was 2 distinct meals, we're saying the case was, right? Because you had in mind to stop eating, so it was 2 distinct meals. But when it comes to making a Birchas Hanenin, when we're thanking Hashem for getting physical benefit, 1 time could cover 2 distinct meals. However, Asher Yatzar, that's not what we're doing. Asher Yatzar, we're not thanking Hashem for the benefit of going to the bathroom. We're saying that the bracha is on the actual act. That's what the Taz says. The bracha is on the actual act of going to the bathroom. It's not really on the benefit, so it doesn't really have the rules of like a Birchas Hanenin. It's a bracha on the act. So therefore, what did this guy do? This guy went to the bathroom. He forgot to say Asher Yatzar. He went to the bathroom again. So, but now he did 2 distinct acts of going to the bathroom. It's not in the realm of Birchas Hanenin, where we're just making a bracha on that. No, we're making a bracha on the actual act. Therefore, the Taz says, that's why the Mechaber says, you say 2 distinct Birchas Asher Yatzars. But what is this machlokes seemingly? Talayan, that it seems like from the Mechaber holds that Asher Yatzar is not a Birchas Hananin. Right? If it was Birchas Hananin, you would only have to say one Asher Yatzar. Rather, what is it? It's a Birchas Shevach on the actual act of going to the bathroom. What does the Bach hold? The Bach says no, that this is a normal Birchas Hananin. It's working in the normal rules of Birchas Hananin. Therefore, if you forget the first time, just like by any Birchas Hananin, you could say one Birchas Hananin, and that covers various Hanos. And that seems to be the Nikudas HaMachlokas. How do we hold? Is it a Birchas Hananin or Birchas HaShevach? So seemingly all the Nosei Kelim are passing like the Bach, except for the Shas, like the Magen Avram, Pri Megadim, right, until the Mishnah Berurah and Aruch Shulchan. They all pass like the Bach. That if one forgets to go to the bathroom and then goes again, he only says one Asher Yatzar, and that covers both trips to the bathroom. Okay, but now that we've clarified that it's a Birchas Hananin, we have to ask ourselves, okay, fine, so this is working in the realm of Birchas Hananin. So let's take benching, right? Let's say somebody had a meal and he didn't bench right away, and not a case where he eats more. How long does he have to bench from the end of his eating? So the halacha is there's something called a shir ikol that you have until the food is digested in your body. Okay, how long is that? We assume it's 72 minutes. But after 72 minutes passed, we assume the hano went away, the benefit went away, and you lost the opportunity to say a berchas hamazon. So the question is, how do we apply that to Asher Yatzar, right? You go to the bathroom, you have benefit. When do we assume the benefit goes away, that you no longer are able to say the bracha of Asher Yatzar? So if you look in the Svarasha Poskim, they all give times, right? Half hour, 72 minutes. Okay, Mishnah Berurah doesn't go with that. The Mishnah Berurah goes with an idea that the Yavitz talks about in Moroktzia, and he says, if you think about it, when somebody goes to the bathroom, he has a benefit right then. And that benefit could last for hours. When does it last until? It lasts until he feels the urge to go to the bathroom again. Right? Because once he feels the urge to go to the bathroom again, then he doesn't have that same benefit that he had right when he left the bathroom. That's why, if you look at the Mishnah Berurah says, you have until you have to use the bathroom again, and then you use the bathroom again, right? You don't even say Asher Yatzar before you use the bathroom, because now you have the urge, so you use the bathroom, and then you say one Asher Yatzar after. That's why the Mishnah Berurah ends off, and he says, that's why a person should be very careful, that the first thing he does when he leaves the bathroom is that he should say Asher Yatzar, because you don't know what's going to happen. You might need it again instantaneously. So you don't want to lose out the chance to say the bracha. Therefore, everyone should strive to say Asher Yatzar as soon as they leave the bathroom. Shkoyach.